What's up everybody, Coach Dan here from Human 2.0. Today I have 4 mobility exercises for runners, alright? So I want you guys to take these exercises and implement them into your kind of injury prevention protocol for running, alright? So there's no point in doing running if you're running in pain or you're getting overuse injuries or you're not stretching, okay? So take these, put them into your program just as a dynamic warm-up, dynamic cool-down, do them on days you're not running, anything like that, and I guarantee you that it is going to help a little bit with your running performance and injuries that you might have, okay? So what we're going to do is look at a couple different themes in terms of running mobility exercises, okay? So number 1, rotation is extremely important in the hip. If your hip can't rotate, specifically internally rotate, we're going to lose a lot of extension in that hip, all right, which is going to throw off our gait. It's going to affect performance, and it's definitely going to cause injuries later on down the road. And then we're going to look at 2 main muscle groups, hip flexors and hamstrings, okay? So let's start off with that rotation. What we're going to do is just standard hip cars, controlled articular rotations from a quadruped position. Now what I want you to do is, if you have a book or a yoga block or anything like that, I just want you to put it on your low back, all right? From here, I'm just going to demo how to do this. So I'm going to tuck my heel to my butt just a little bit, just enough to turn on that hamstring, all right? I'm going to go forward with the knee, out, right, into abduction and external rotation, internally rotate that knee, that hip, and then bring it back around into that extension, and then match up with the other knee. I'm going to reverse it, go back, out, and now I'm going to externally rotate that hip, bring that knee back around. So again, up, out, internally rotate, and then back around, right? And then reverse that movement. You're looking at doing, 3 to 5 reps per direction, a couple sets there. Really just looking at using all the range that we have, because if we don't use it, we're not going to have it later on to use, right? Remembering that we're looking at internal rotation. If we can't internally rotate that hip while we're in that extension, it's going to throw us off, and we're naturally going to open up, and it's going to cause a whole bunch of different issues, okay? Now let's look at more external rotation as a focus, but still rotation through both hips, all right? We're going to get into the 90-90 position, okay? We're going to pulse down, just add a dynamic stretch, external rotation, hip flexion on the front leg. From here, before I even look around, I'm going to open that back hip into external rotation. That's going to pull my body and my other hip over to the other side. Pulse down, right? Open that back hip first, external rotation, activating those glutes, and then pull yourself across. If you can, we do this without hands, but I want you to stay nice and tall through that swivel, okay? If you don't land in the 90-90, just adjust yourself a little bit and continue on. So more of an external rotation focus there, but definitely one of my absolute favorite hip mobility drills there, regardless if you're a runner or not, all right? Now let's take a look at the hamstrings and hip flexors. So first drill, we're going to do lunge lockouts. So I just want you to get into a standard 90-90 lunge here, okay? So hip is over the knee is over the ankle for the most part, right? We put our hands down just in line with our toes if we can. If you need something to put under your hands to elevate and help yourself get into that position. Some people are going to be feeling this in that high hamstring, low glute area, right? That's why this is a double exercise. Okay, so I'm going to plant down there, tall spine, proud chest. From here, all I'm going to think about doing is pressing my back heel into the wall behind me. And just pause for a second, bring it back down, okay? So we're not looking at going up at all. Next progression for that would be to do it in a more loaded position where our torso is up, okay? So we're really looking at that extension in the hip, flexion in this hip, right? If you feel any pinching in the front of the hip, chances are that could be internal rotation again, a lack of internal rotation I should say, or just something else, some kind of impingement going on, all right? So we want to really grease that groove there, keep our back hip facing down so that hip is actually internally rotated a little bit, and get into some good hip extension there, all right? Last drill, and then I will leave you guys to it. So we are looking at the elephant walk. Full progression is if you could put your hands underneath your toes. By all means, if you need to, just start with your hands on your shins, right? So I'm going to get my fingers underneath my toes without swiveling too much side to side. I'm just going to try and lock out those knees. But again, because of the forward fold, this is actually more of a hamstring and high calf drill, right? Again, I'm trying not to just sway side to side. If you're doing that in this drill, chances are whenever we are in that extension, that hamstring's pulling, right, we are actually looking at doing that sway in our gait, okay? So something to take a look at there. We're just looking at 3 to 5 reps per exercise, per position, right? And implement that into your protocol for a warm-up, cool down, your rest days, anything like that. And those are 4 exercises, mobility exercises for runners.